How to do, everybody? Welcome to Variety Conversation. I am Lady Walker. Here's to shaking my head to this sad and disturbing story whereby 49-year-old Reverend Pastor Dr. Lloyd Eddie Lasker Jr., pastor of House of Refuge and Deliverance Ministries in Mayflower, Arkansas, is under investigation in a child abuse charge where he performed an exorcism on a 21-month-old toddler that landed the child in the hospital in serious condition, bruised up and brain bleed. And the child also is said to be suffering from extreme malnourishment. The child's mother said her son was demon-possessed and she took him to Pastor Lasker for him to perform an exorcism, which the pastor admitted to investigators that he did perform an exorcism on the child, but he didn't say how he did it. How about that? He didn't say how he did it. Yes, I performed it, but I ain't going to tell you how I did it. Also, during the investigation, authorities found that Lasker was involved in narcotics and firearms and that he was on probation with an active search waiver, aka warrant on file. Police later found Pastor Lasker Jr. and another man, Timothy Bynum, in a truck at a gas station in Mayflower, Arkansas. Police said when they searched the truck, they found meth and a pipe. And Lasker Jr. later admitted to having a gun in his house and that he used meth. Lasker Jr. was arrested and charged with possession of a controlled substance, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of a gun by a convicted felon. In other words, love, you are not supposed to have a gun if you are a convicted felon. Court documents show that Lasker allegedly did meth with church parishioners as well as with the 21-month-old child's mother. Do you hear me? He allegedly, this is the pastor, this is the Reverend Dr. Pastor Lasker, allegedly did meth with church parishioners, aka the church members. Not all of them, but some of them, as well as with the 21-month-old child's mother. Okay? Child, it used to be that meth was a white person's drug of choice. Now, some black folks have dibble and dabble into injecting, snorting, smoking, and swallowing it like boo-boo to food. Now, let me tell you like the tis. It's not hard to sell me on the belief that the pastor and the child's mother were demon-possessed. And pastor was probably holy high on meth when he was trying to perform his botched up exorcism on the child. With a ministry named House of Refuge and Deliverance Ministries, Reverend Pastor Dr. Lasker was overdue for deliverance, one that he didn't know he needed. He was a full-blown candidate for it as well as some of his parishioners who he was doing meth together with. What a disgrace. It's these so-called reverends, pastors, and doctors like Lasker that causes people to give up on serving God. Which is why I say your eyes are to be on God, not man, because man will fail you. But that doesn't mean that all reverends, pastors, and doctors are as wicked as sin. Okay, some of them are doing right by the profession wherein they are called. And some choose to screw up because they don't want to pass up the opportunity to wine and dine the forbidden desires of the flesh. And yep, we do expect a whole lot more when it comes to doing right from the man or woman of the cloth, because they are the ones feeding a multitude of God's sheep. If you can't adhere to what you preach and teach, quit preaching and teaching it. Not my first time saying that, and it will not be my last time saying it too. Okay, because somebody is going to screw up and do something that they should not be doing. Being a reverend, pastor, and or doctor as a spiritual leader used to be looked upon as a pillar of society or the community. And now there are those who are diluting the true calling to nothing but a fraud because of their irreverent ways. On a side note, although various titles has an aura of prestige to it, Don't allow yourself to be infatuated and hoodwinked by a person's title that is before or after his or her name. People don't always live up to the responsibility their title carries. Plus, a title doesn't speak for one's character or what wickedness lies in one's heart. Yet, some people hide behind their title in disguise so that they can deceive people for some kind of personal gain. And ain't that a flying horse doozy? And love, on another side note, hashtag corruption is in every profession. Anyway, Lasker Jr. appeared in court on September the 23rd, and he is due back in court on October the 13th, which is just around the corner. So feel free to share your perspective on the topic at hand. And in the meantime, beloveds, y'all come back to visit me when you can. Okie doke, ta-ta.